US President Donald Trump has said that due to the ongoing war in the Middle East, Iran has been, quote, obliterated, and the, quote, powerful military campaign in Iran would continue. Now, the war began just days after President Donald Trump's Board of Peace convened for the very first time in Washington, D.C. to discuss the reconstruction of Gaza. For more, Euronews' Marit Gwynne-Jones sat down with the EU Commissioner for the Mediterranean, that's Šuica, who was actually physically in D.C. for that occasion. And Marit started by asking the Commissioner if the Board of Peace was a credible body or not.
It's hard to say whether it's credible or not, but at that moment it was meant for the reconstruction of Gaza. And I think regardless of this situation development in the Middle East, we shouldn't forget Gaza. And I think we have to concentrate on Gaza because the situation remains dire and even worse in Gaza as we speak now. So we have to continue working for them.
Yet the charter, so the mandates that President Trump has drafted for the board, does not make one mention of Gaza. And the European Commission itself is questioning whether this is in line with the UN Charter, for example, whether it contradicts the UN Charter. So given all of that, do you think that the board is credible? Again, if I may ask you that question.
The invitation for the Board of Peace was received by President von der Leyen, and I was representing her at that meeting. So it doesn't mean that we legitimized this board. We were there as we were just observing what was going on. This was a good occasion for me as Commissioner to meet all the ministers from the region. For me, it was a good moment to meet all of them at one place. But at the same time, we are not we are not in line with some of the Board of Peace rules of procedure, with the scope and with different issues, so that we are not members. We are just there. We were there for courtesy reasons.
So finally on this, will you continue to attend any meeting that are specifically related to the situation in Gaza?
We will decide on case-by-case basis.
OK. So obviously there is a war now that is threatening to spill over into the wider Middle East. You as Commissioner, you're responsible for relations with some of these countries. How does this war affect your work and the cooperation with the countries such as Lebanon that are directly affected by the conflict?
So the situation is developing as we speak, so we have to adapt to the situation. It's also very difficult to start working on Middle East strategy at the moment because the situation develops. But we have to be active, we have to be engaged, and we want to be engaged. This is the very reason why this portfolio exists, because President von der Leyen wanted us to be present and to be not only passive spectators, but to be players in the region. At this moment, unfortunately, we are mostly payers. We are paying a lot, and our influence is not that huge. But we want to increase our influence in the region and globally.
Part of this region that you also oversee as well is obviously Israel. Do you support now the French calls for that they broker talks between Israel and Lebanon to come to a kind of settlement?
For us, only dialogue, only de-escalation, and only diplomacy work. And this is my position, and this is position of the European Commission. I can say 3 Ds: dialogue, diplomacy, and de-escalation. And I support, of course, this. Unfortunately, the proxies, Iranian proxies, Hezbollah started this, and then it was, if I may say, returned by Israeli strikes, which is not good for the people of Lebanon, not good for anyone in the region.
If I may, you say diplomacy. Can the EU really push for that, given the situation that we're seeing today, where we're not seeing any diplomacy? It's just conflict.
Yeah, but we are not supporting any conflict. We are really we are calling everyone, all the forces there, to de-escalate, because it doesn't bring anyone anything good. First, people of the region, but also globally, to Europe, there is an impact, but there is also impact on the whole world. If you look at energy prices or crisis, you see what's going on in the world, and this won't be easy to return to the zero position as it was before this conflict, because the impact is huge, especially on oil, but also on other sources of energy.
And looking at Iran, is there anything that you can do as Commissioner to support the Iranian people?
we are the only one in the world who was and who has been and who is supporting at this moment civil society organizations in Iran, because we didn't have any bilateral connections with the government, but with civil society organizations via our implementing partners on the ground. So there we have been doing a lot for Afghan people who are refugees in Iran. If you know, it's more than 100 million euro which we invested in civil society organizations as of 2021. So this is what we can do at the moment, and this is what we have been doing. So helping people through non-governmental organizations.